Have you heard of the phrase, the reason is because? I know I have, and I know you have too, and we have probably both used that phrase many times. But is it grammatically correct? As in the sentence, the reason I helped you is because I admire you. Well, it's correct if you are using that in the informal oral language. However, if you are writing your sentences and it is required to use good formal standard English, using the phrase the reason is because is not acceptable. In its place, you can use two different variations of the reason is because for grammatically correct sentences. The first revision would be to change because to that, as in, the reason I helped you is that I admire you. Or you can use a second variation, which is by far better than the first variation, and that is to simply take out the reason is from your sentence, as in, I helped you because I admire you. But why are those correct? What's the reason behind it? Well, let's start with the reason is that. In the phrase, the reason is because, reason implies because, and because implies there's a reason. You're saying the same thing twice in the sentence by using both of those words. Therefore, it's redundant. There's a needless repetition of the idea. And therefore, simply take out because and put in a different word, in this case, that, and your sentence is now grammatically correct. The reason I helped you is that I admire you. The second variation is better by taking out the reason is because wordy sentences are not considered good writing. Concise sentences saying the most with the fewest words possible is always better than writing sentences with more words. In other words, fewer words mean better writing. So instead of saying the reason I helped you is because I admire you, simply say I helped you because I admire you. It's concise. Now let's take a look at a few examples and see how the revisions work. The reason I have holes in my lawn is because I have gophers. No problem in the informal oral language. But if you are writing it, you need to use one of the two variations or revisions. Here's the first one, taking out because and putting in the word that. The reason I have holes in my lawn is that I have gophers. Or you can use the better revision, revision 2, by simply taking out the reason is. And in that case, you have a more concise sentence, I have holes in my lawn because I have gophers. Isn't that better? Pretty simple. The reason rainbows form is because sunlight refracts several colors through water droplets. In the first one, we will replace because with that. As in, the reason rainbows form is that sunlight refracts several colors through water droplets. But the second variation is by far better because it's more concise, simply by taking out the reason is. And that sentence would now read, rainbows form because sunlight refracts several colors through water droplets. So to summarize, remember that the reason is because is perfectly acceptable in the informal oral language. There's no problem with that. But in the written mode, you need to use one of the two variations. So instead of saying the reason is because, you're now going to say the reason is that, or you're going to be taking out the reason is from the sentence and make it more concise. For example, the reason I make grammar videos is because I love helping people. That would be perfectly fine in the oral informal language. But in the written mode, I could take out because and put in that, as in the reason I make grammar videos is that I love helping people. Or you could take out the reason is and make your sentence more concise and therefore better grammatically. And that would be, I make grammar videos because I love helping people. And in conclusion, that's the reason. Just because of that. Take care.